session is all about preparing for 2025, and we are going to look at how your property compares with the local market. And if you you need to make any adjustment, how do you figure out that, and how do you get a bigger picture of the market? So let's go. Before I get into the meat of the session, if you have not attended the basic training that we conduct daily trainings and weekly trainings, right, in different parts of the product. And Rafael will put the link in the chat, so you can go take a look and join any upcoming trainings with our team, so that you can like get acquainted with product better, and it'll teach you all the basics that you need to know before you start with PriceLabs, or even after you have spent some time, but you want to go dive deeper into it, you can attend one of our trainings. All right. So my name is Gaurav Bundel. I'm a product marketing manager here at PriceLabs. My role is basically to hear the voice of the market, voice of the customers, and uh, bring that in the product. And what you see and what you interact with is made by users like you and your feedback. So your feedback is very important to us, and we keep bringing in new features. We keep rolling out new stuff. That is all based on the feedback that we received, and it's my job to bring that feedback in, and also to um, bring that roll the new feature out to audiences like you and speak to you in your terms. All right. So today's agenda, like I said, we are going to compare your 2025 prices to the market. We're going to see if you need to make any adjustment to certain dates, and how do you make those adjustments. How do you track your occupancy and prepare for 2025, and see if you're pacing ahead of the market, how you're doing against the market, right? We are also going to look at how do you adjust minimum stay rules. Minimum stay is basically any length of stay requirements that you have set up for your property. I think that must be very obvious to know. And then get a broader market overview, not just looking at your particular listing, but you want to compare it against a larger market. How do you do that in PriceLabs? All right. So number one is future prices chart. This is in the neighborhood data tab. I'm going to quickly show you the slide and then quickly jump into the product, so that you get a better feel of what I'm talking about. So future prices chart is a graph in neighborhood data tab, which you see just beside the calendar tab that you once you log into your PriceLab account, you go to PriceLab pricing dashboard, and when you click on review prices, you are shown a calendar screen, right? Uh, just beside that calendar, there is another tab called neighborhood data tab, which shows you your final price against the market. So what I mean by here is, let me just quickly open the product side by side while I show you this. So this has all the prices that you have for the PriceLabs is recommending for you. So based on your settings, it's calculating the final price for the upcoming year, right? And that's where you see this future prices chart showing that. In the black line you see here is going to show what your prices look like. So this is the calendar that I'm on. If I go to December, these are all the prices that PriceLabs is generating for your listing. If you click on the neighborhood data tab, you are shown this future prices chart. So right now, I am talking about future prices chart because I want to know where my prices are with respect to the market, right? So that's something that I'm interested to know. Let me open another one. Right. So I'm interested to know how my prices are stacked against the market. So you'll see the black line showing up here is going to show this is how my prices look like. And if I remove all the bands, then you'll see it simply, right? So it's easy to see that these are all the prices that we are pushing for you. And my prices will look a bit wonky because I'm using a demo account. So this will not be the actual picture that you'll see. in your account it might be different. If I turn these bands on, this is going to show what my market is priced for 25th to 50th percentile. So basically what my average is for the market, and below that 25th percentile to the average, right? So, and this is the 50th to 70th percentile band, and then this is the market 75th to 90th percentile. So what I mean by market here is is basically the nearby listings. But by default, what we calculate your prices against is the 350 listings in your neighborhood, right? So that's going to calculate here and show it to you. If I can just select the nearby listings, you'll be able to see that. You don't have to change it if you are using it for the first time. You can even uh, use it as like that. And there's another advanced option where you can actually select a market dashboard. And that I'm going to show you later on in the last section, where I look at the market dashboard and how you can use it here in your market data tab, in your neighborhood data tab. So these are the final prices that I'm pushing, and where I'm looking at how do they compare with the market. So if I'm preparing for the for the next year, what I'm going to look at, okay, if there's any major anomaly that I see, that I need to work on, if that I need to make adjustments on. So I'm going to look at that and make adjustment if it's necessary. Keep in mind, PriceLabs is updating your prices every day. So the algorithm is working in the behind the scenes and generating new recommendation every day. So that is something you have to keep in mind before making any adjustment, right? So we don't recommend you to make adjustment unless very necessary, because our prices are going to reflect the change in demand, the change in occupancy, right? All those things are going to get considered in your prices every day. So one way that you can see it is by clicking on this price evolution checkbox. So if you see here, there are few more other lines that have appeared, right? So what I mean by this is, let me select this. So you see this red line. This red line shows what our prices were for this date, this particular date, 7 days ago. And this has decreased because we are not seeing too much demand, but we are lowering it bit by bit every day, so that we are able to achieve those bookings in your account, right? So that's something to keep in mind. You can quickly see this price evolution by checking this box. So this provides you reassurance that your prices are changing every day, and it also brings you transparency into how our prices are made, right? Our prices are generated. I hope this is clear. All right. So is there any particular question that you want me to answer? All right. I think the team is answering the questions. If need be, I can take those questions at the end. All right. Now let me go back to the slide. So we talked about future prices chart, and there's a very smart tool that we have launched this year. It's called AI Insights, and basically it makes your job easier, because these trends keep changing. You might need to give this summary to somebody, maybe a homeowner, maybe a client. You might want to see how their properties are doing against the market, but you don't really have to deal with the graph and see how it's changing. You can just quickly click on this AI Insights button, like I clicked, and this will show you a analysis of your market. It'll show you what's the high season it's for you, what's the low season, where are we seeing surge in prices, right? We are going to show which for particular events, how much market prices have increased. So you can easily take this text, copy it and share it with your teammates or homeowners, right? Just for a quick analysis of the market and for that particular listing. All right. So next is another cool feature that you should look at is this bedroom counts. So this basically compares to the overall market. Like I said, the 350 listings around your particular listing, but you might not compare with every property that is there in the market, right? You might only compare against, let's say, 3 and 4 bedroom. This is a 4 bedroom property, and I'm comparing it to only 3 and 4 BRs around my market. So if I apply it, you'll see the shape of the bands will change, and it'll have a different type of comparison available for you. And as you hover over it, you can see any particular date's final prices, what is the market looking like, and what was your price evolution for that particular day, right? So these are all the things that you can do with future prices chart. So it just gives you for a particular listing, it gives you a bird's eye view of what's it going to look like in the coming short term, right? So as you prepare for 2025, it's essential you look for future prices chart and look for any anomalies. If you're pricing way high above your market, you might not get the bookings. If it's far out, it's okay, right? But it's for a shorter duration booking window. If your prices are way above the market, you might not be the first one to get booked. So you might need some adjustment. But okay, so this is on the future prices chart. Moving on to the next slide that we have is on the making adjustment to prices if needed, right? So if you figured out, okay, PriceLabs is there are some prices that don't look right to me, because of course you know your property well and you know your market well. So I would like to change something in the prices, right? So one quick thing that you can do is go to your calendar, right? If you have a particular date in mind, once you have figured out a date from future prices chart that these are the prices that I want to change, go to the calendar and you can easily set up a date specific override. What I mean by a date specific override is the settings that PriceLab has for a particular day. You can override it by just selecting up those particular days. And let's say I want to change my final price to 10% over what PriceLab is recommending. So I did this and I added. Then what next is going to you see here is 10% change on recommended price is quickly added if you want to modify any particular prices that you see. You can also change the minimum stay like this. You can change the requirement that you have for particular weekends. You can make it higher, lower, right, depending on the day, and that's up to you. So we give you pricing recommendation, yes, but we also give you all the control that you need to make the prices as per your requirements. All right. One important thing that I would like you to note here as you prepare for 2025, look for event and holidays tab here in the pricing calendar. Once you click on this, all the events in your area are going to show up in this list, and you can quickly see what their average price is looking like, and then you might want to adjust it if it's needed. um, by default, PriceLab is going to see a surge in bookings, and it's going to inflate or increase your prices for these high demand days, right? So by default we do it, and we, like I showed you in pricing evolution, the prices keep changing every day. So you don't necessarily have to change it, but if you see if some particular event is closer, is like makes an impact on your property, and you see like it needs to be lower, it needs to be higher, then you can change it. Another thing I would like to tell you that we don't capture all the events because there are some niche events that particular audience is aware of, but we are not. For that, you can actually report that event to us. So you just click on this report event button in this events and holidays chart, and then just click on what is the start date, what is the end date for that event. You can tell us the event name, and you can also tell us the impact of the event on prices, right? Low, medium, high. And based on that, our data science team is going to update the pricing recommendation, or at least set a lower safety minimum so that your prices don't drop too much below it, right? So that is a very handy tool, a little advanced tool for new hosts. But yeah, this is something that you can do in our product. All right, so this was about date specific overrides. Another thing that I would like to show you is nudges. So because we calculate your prices every day, we also calculate it against your market, right? So when you set up your account first, you would have set up your base price and minimum price, because that is something that we require everyone should be doing in their account, or at least we recommend everyone should be doing. If we see for any particular day that your minimum price or your base price is hindering in become being the most optimal price for that day, then we show you a nudge, and this nudge is going to show up in your pricing dashboard page as a yellow bulb icon, right? Against your listing, you're going to see this bulb icon. For example, for this particular listing, I have my minimum price set at 175, but it's going to is asking me to lower it to 166, right? So we are comparing it with your market. We are making new pricing recommendations, and we see that there is some amount of leeway that we need to uh, optimally price your listing. Then we are going to recommend this to you. And also, you'll also see this same thing for base price if your base price is not optimal, right? If we see more than 5% difference between your base price and our recommended base price, then we are going to show these nudges. So these nudges you can take action on directly from pricing dashboard. You can choose to reject or accept these nudges, right? So these are our recommendations. So it's final decision is up to you on if you would like to accept them or not. All right. So this was about date specific overrides and nudges. Next, we come to occupancy. Any particular questions if I need to answer here? Rafal or Shreep, anything particular from me here before I move on to the next? In case not. Okay. Let me show you the next section is on the occupancy, right? How do you track occupancy? How do you make a judgment based on if it's how it's going, how it's comparing against the market? Going back to the neighborhood data tab, you saw uh, the future prices chart. Now coming to the occupancy chart. So this is also just right below the future prices chart. You have the market occupancy in red line highlighted here, right? And this way you can see how the occupancy for next year is doing and how it's looking like, right? The gray bar that you see here is your bookings. So when you are booked, you will be 100% occupied, right? So that's what we are showing here, that these days are your properties are booked, your listing is booked, and this is and we are showing it against market, uh, overall market's occupancy. One cool thing that I can do here is add last year data to this occupancy chart. Now it gives me a better baseline to compare against, right? This gives me overall market's occupancy that was uh, last year, right? There are two lines that show up here. One is about the occupancy that was finally achieved in that on that day, and also the solid gray line shows you what was the occupancy on same time last year or the same date that was last year, right? So these two lines really makes you like set a baseline for what your market is looking like and how much it can achieve, right? So final occupancy for these dates will be much higher. um, so you might like it might give you some cues on if you need to increase your prices or decrease prices or increase your length of stay or decrease length of stay, right? It can give you some cues on how to set up your PriceLabs account, right? Okay. Hmm. Going back to the deck, you have the overall occupancy, you have the last year's occupancy, and you have the last year's occupancy, which was same time last year, right? So you can do that. And again, the AI Insights feature is here. So you just click on that button and it will generate a quick summary of how your market's occupancy is looking like. You can easily understand what this chart is trying to say. You can say when the surge in demand is, you can see what's the seasonality for your market, right? All these things you can easily understand by just clicking on one button. All right. Coming on to the next topic is adjusting length of stay rules. Again, this is comes from your understanding that you have gained from going to your neighborhood data tab, where looking at future prices, how your prices compare to the market, looking at the occupancy, if your occupancy, how does it relate to the market? Is it uh, higher than last year? Is it lower than last year? Are there any promotions and offers that you can do or you need to do or not? So you get that gist of, okay, if I need to do something, how do I change that, right? So one lever that every host or property manager has is changing the length of stay, right? So that we have for every listing, you might have set a min stay already. But if you have not, I would like you to go to our mainstay recommendations, which are going to make it easier for you to set those stay restrictions, right? So click on customization, edit customization, and go to stay restriction tab. You will already see this minimum stay settings. So I have this applied in this account already. If you have not, then you might see it in here, min stay settings, stay restriction, and you click on help me choose minimum stays, right? It's going to ask me if I prefer short term or prefer mid term. I'm going to select short term for now and click on go. Now you see these recommendation, we are looking at your market, and based on your market we are seeing what you should set your minimum stays to, right? So these are all the settings that you can quickly apply right from here if you are okay with them, but you can also customize them as per your property needs. You have seen the historical bookings, how they have panned out, right? So you know better your property better than us. You can of course tweak it, optimize it as per your requirement, but this is just to get you started. If you have not set up your mainstays, this is a very quick way to set most optimal or suitable minimum stay for your property. You can apply and customize from here, and then if you want to change anything, you can do that by lowering or increasing the values that you see here, right? So I have just applied the mainstay update, and then it's also showing up here on what the update was. This is what PriceLabs is pushing to your booking channels. So keep this in mind that all the settings that you set here will show up in your booking channel as soon as you click on save and refresh, right? So make sure to click on save and refresh after you have made any changes so that it flows automatically to your booking channels, right? And then sync now to actually show those prices on the on your OTAs or uh, any booking channels that you have. All right. So this after you get this data from minimum stays, you have so recapping what we have done. We have already looked at our market, how our prices are comparing with the market for the foreseeable future, how my occupancy is compared with the market's occupancy, how it's compared with last year's market occupancy. Is it leading? Is it lagging behind? Do I need to do anything about it? So those things we can, if I need to do anything about it, then we know how to set up date specific overrides for particular dates. We know how to look at events, and we also know how to look at nudges that PriceLabs shows you, right? Most often your pricing is going to change based on, like, because PriceLabs keeps updating its pricing recommendation, so you don't necessarily need to make a change. It's only on some particular events or some particular scenario where you feel that I know this better than PriceLabs, then you can of course make those changes. All right, moving on to the next segment is getting a broader market view. And this you do by using our market dashboard tool, right? You can easily see what's the supply and demand looking like, what's the booking pattern, what's the popular amenities for my market is. So you can use market dashboard to do that. So bringing it back to the basics, market dashboard is another product that we have. It integrates with our dynamic pricing product, but it has its own pricing, and we offer it in 3 tiers as of now. It has 1,000 listing that we have. It has 5,000 listing and 10,000 listings. So basically, any market you want to look at, you want to go into the detail, and you don't necessarily have a listing in that market, but you want to get a broader view of that market, you can do that using market dashboard, right? So I have a market dashboard already open. So this is the market dashboard page that you will see here. And if I click on any particular market dashboard, it's going to show up here, render here. So if you'll see all these market dashboard have been created. If you have not used these, you'll have to click on the create dashboard button. You'll add an address, location address. You want to select the radius that you want to compare against, and then it'll ask you to verify the location and confirm details. So that way you'll be able to easily create this market dashboard, and it'll show up here in this screen. And how it's going to look like is like this. So I have opened a market dashboard. It shows me what, so this particular market dashboard has 1,000 listings. So it compares, or it collates the data of 1,000 listings in this location. This is Long Beach Island. So all the dots you see here are listings that are in this market dashboard, right? So you'll be able to hover over any particular dot and see what's the bedroom, what's the listing ID, and you can click on it as well, right? So you can do that here, and you can even refine this. If you want to select particular listings, then you can draw a lasso select here, and just it'll update the data and only give you the data for these particular listings, right? So if you see, the data will change here in this ComSet thing, right? So this way you can create ComSet as well. So market dashboard gives you a overall view of any particular market based on the address you specify. and it shows you key metrics of that market. For example, this 105K revenue is the average revenue listings in this area make for a year, right? These are the RevPAR numbers, these are the occupancy, this is the ADR that you make, right? You can also see your booking windows. You can also see your length of stay, what most people are setting as length of stay, right? So it gives you an overall view of the market. And the map I showed you was basically to create particular comp set. If you want to compare with particular segment of listings, you can do that by choosing those particular listings. And remember, I talked about choosing a comp set in neighborhood data tab. So once you create a comp set here, your market dashboard will show up in the neighborhood data tab under uh, this menu button, right? You will be able to select market dashboard. You can select whichever market dashboard you have created, and then it will show up instead of these the default market that is set by PriceLabs already, right? So this is a very handy tool if you want to once a year you can do that. You can look at your particular um, uh, market. You can also look at your listings that you compare against. You can create a comp set using the market dashboard and actually compare it to your prices, right? So that's where it makes most sense, because you know your property well, you know your competitors well as well. So you can select those competitors and actually use them in your daily analysis whenever you're looking at your particular listing, right? Market dashboard also gives you a quick market summary of what your average revenue is looking like month over month, what's your RevPAR, what's your occupancy, ADR, booking window, and median length of stay, right? It also gives you supply and demand. This is basically how many booked nights and how many active listings are present in the market. And you can also look at pricing and occupancy trend. This is similar to what we looked at in neighborhood data tab, but it shows the market's occupancy, and it also shows last year what was the last year occupancy for it, right? So this is for the overall market. So neighborhood data tab, you were looking at your particular listing, but this you are looking at overall market. And just like the neighborhood tab, this also has an AI insights button. So you don't have to get into the charts and graphs present. You can just click on AI insights and it's going to generate all the insights for you um, in text form. So you don't have to actually spend too much time um, fiddling with the graphs, right? So you can quickly learn what the market is saying, and then you can actually copy and paste this and share with your clients, your homeowners, your teammates, anyone. All right. So I showed you the market dashboard. So I hope these steps will help you set your strategy for 2025, how your price recommendations are comparing to the market. If there's an anomaly that you need to take care of, you can make adjustment. PriceLabs is already handling most of the adjustments that you need to make because we are recalculating your recommendation every day for both mainstay, right, and the prices, right? So we have the market demand in mind, we have your occupancy in mind, we have the seasonality in mind. So all those things are taken care of by the algorithm and automatically gets updated. So only make adjustment if you think there is a reason to, and um, you want those adjustment to be made via date specific overrides or changing particular settings for particular months, right? So that's one something you can do. I think that is it from me. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Rafael Blas, Arshdeep, do you want to unmute yourself and share if any questions are marked for me?
Yes, so we have the first question from Roxana asking, can you go over how to read the chart like by picking a particular date?
Okay. Yes, I can show it to you. Hmm. I hope you can see my screen, right? So let me just make it simpler for you. I'll remove everything that you see here. This is your final chart. Let me focus on, let's focus on some particular day in the future. So let's see. So this is very simple way to look at what your final price that PriceLabs is pushing to your booking channels. Right now you want to compare it against the market. You can slowly start adding these other elements that you see here. So I've added the market's percentile. Now basically the black line is just skirting the gray line. So this is just about average for this particular market. And that's how it's you can read it. You can also add the events and holidays that you have. For example, if I hover over here, I see MLK Day that pops up, right? So all the events are highlighted in bright pink at the bottom. So you can do that. You can actually click and drag if you want to look at any particular dates or any particular weekends. You can actually click on the graph and drag it, and then you will be zoomed in. To zoom out, you need to double click on a blank area and it will zoom out, right? Mm. Roxana, I hope that answers your question. All right. Next. Yes, I have many open
Question
questions there.
from Julie. Where to see events, holidays, and high demand dates?
All right. Yes, I can show it to you in the calendar. So if you are in the calendar screen for PriceLabs, you see on the right hand side, you have this events and holiday written here. You click on the view and all the events and holidays are listed in a list in a drop down, and then you can actually view up all the upcoming events here. Another way you can see the upcoming events is through your pricing calendar. These bright pink stars legend that you booking indicator that you see here, it will show you what event this is. So if I hover over this date, if I just hover over this date, it'll show me it's showing the Christmas, right? If you look at the tooltip that pops up at the top, it shows Christmas, right? That's also one way you can look at particular event dates. But yeah, the best way is to click on the events and holidays tab and just see whichever events you want to see. All right.
Another question from
Josephine, yeah, go ahead, Rafael.
Michelle. Are high demand dates based on my city specifically? For example, 4th of July, I can see being popular, but rentals in my city of Portland historically aren't popular. Would PriceLabs know that, or would they just think that 4th of July is a popular holiday everywhere?
Yeah, so high demand days are based on your particular market. Yes, so we know that it's a major event, and we show all the major events that we are considering in this events and holidays table. So it, like you see the Independence Day showing up, 4th of July showing up here. So it's going to consider that, take into consideration. If you have a different experience in the past of the demand not matching the prices, or the prices not matching the demand, right, you can actually override that, or set your own settings for that particular weekend, like I showed how you do with the DSOs, right, the date specific overrides.
We also have a question from Josephine about the occupancy chart. Can you explain the difference between the solid gray graph and the broken gray graph?
Right, sure. So this is the chart that I showed you. This is the overall market occupancy that is there for the next year, right? The red line that you see. Now, if I click on add last year data, two different lines appear here. One is for same time last year. So we are looking at this day. If I'm looking at December 1, right, it's going to look at last year Sunday. It's going to make like one day adjusted, and look at the same day of week and compare that occupancy in show that occupancy in the dotted gray line. I'm sorry, in the solid gray line. The dotted gray line that you see is going to be the final occupancy that was after at the end of the year, right? So the final occupancy, what was what that market had seen, we show it as a dashed gray line or dotted gray line, and the solid gray line that you see is the same time last year. So if I'm looking at December 1, what was it on December 1, 2023?
Next question from Jackie. In the future prices, can you show us again how to see what area the chart is comparing to? So I suppose the competitor map.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. So this area is going to show so where we are basing your market as, right? So if you go, so basically you say in the same neighborhood data tab, if you scroll down below, you'll see a competitor map, and you can choose to show map here, and it's going to show you what kind of where in the map the listings are located, so you can quickly compare against that market. So the square you see is this particular listing that I'm showing on screen, and the circles um, are the listings that make up the market. This thing that answers your question, Jackie. Right. Any other question from you?
And one more question from Jackie. When in the calendar view, can you explain the tooltip?
Yes. All right. So this is the calendar view. Uh, we also make it very clear on how we have come up with these recommendation, and that you can see it just by hovering over any particular price. This way, you will be able to see how PriceLabs has calculated that particular number. It's going to show you different types of market factors that are being applied. So basically, we take your base price, and there are multiple factors that we consider. For example, seasonality, demand factor, what's the day of week looking like. If this is a Friday, it might be a higher demand. If it's a middle of the week, it might be lesser demand, right? We take that into account. We also take into account how your occupancy is pacing. If it's if your occupancy for that particular listings is way higher than the market, then we also price it higher. We also take it into account, right? So let me not complicate it. So basically, we take your base price, we apply a lot of factors on top of it, and then we generate a pricing recommendation. And you can see that by hovering over any date, and it's going to break it down how that particular number has been arrived at. Um, and basically, you can see how what particular number, like how did we arrive at that particular number. And it also shows you minimum stay for that particular week. So what is the length of stay that you're setting up for that particular day. You'll be able to see that just by hovering over. All right.
Okay, we have one more question from Shue. Why don't the high demand dates appear with pink star in my calendar? Can you show how to enable it?
Yes. So Shui, I think you can click on this menu item, go to your calendar, click on this menu item, and click on the show events checkbox. I think that is unchecked in your account, so that's why you may be not seeing it. But once you check it, it will start showing up. Any other question for me, Rafa?
There are a lot of questions, but I think it will be
There are
best
a lot of
if,
questions there. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I can
if
pick
we
something
follow
that.
up on them.
Yes, so we will be if your answers get unanswered, we will reach out to you with the answers as well. So I think Josephine asks, how is the competitor map in neighborhood data different from the market dashboard? Can't I get the data I need from neighborhood data instead of buying the market dashboard? What is the benefit of the market dashboard? So this basically goes back to your neighborhood data is around your listing. So the default data in your neighborhood data that you see here, if it's selected as nearby listing, it's PriceLabs default that we are seeing nearby listings against your property, and those nearby listing you see here. So this comes with the dynamic pricing tool, right? So you don't actually have to purchase this. This is just this is free available for everyone, right, who is on dynamic pricing. If you want to have a broader view of the market, if you want more details, let's say you have a very large market and you want to compare against just like 3 bedroom properties, or with properties with a pool, for example, right? So that you can do in market data. You can filter it down to your particular segment of property and compare against those instead of comparing to everything, right? So you can't tweak, you can refine the nearby listing by changing the bedroom count, but you can do much more customization in market dashboard by going into the amenities. You can select the particular amenities that you have and others might have, right? So you can actually type it out. You can there are very smart filters available in market dashboard which understand what you're trying to filter on. So let me show you how. So if I go here, I see in market dashboard all the listings that are here in the map, and all the listings are here listed. But I don't want to compare to everyone. I want to compare to only with listings with more than let's say 4.8 Airbnb ratings, right? So I can just type it here. Star ratings. And it's going to select those properties with me for me. So now I have all the properties with more than 4.8 star rating. I can also say with a pool, right? So this is going to select all the listings with more than 4.8 listings and have a clue. Now there are only two listings here, but your market might have like much more than this, right? And this way you can generate this comp set, and then the beauty is like you can compare it in your prices against this market in neighborhood data tab. So that's how both of these tools differ from each other. I hope that answers your question, Josephine. Any other question for me, Rafa?
Not at the moment. As I mentioned, we have a lot of questions, but
Yeah,
I think it would be best
good,
if
good.
we address them one by one.
All right. Daniel asks, can you explain hotel data, please? I think we have we need another session for that because it's a different thing on all. Uh, so it will be taken in, you can join our training session or our onboarding session, right? And then you can ask that particular question. But this session is more about preparing for 2025, and there are the tools that I've highlighted are going to do that.
We have one question from Melina. If
Hmm?
there is a way to download future prices from the calendar to review them easier.
Yes, yes, there is a way to download future prices. Alina, go to, so if you can see my screen, I'm sharing the neighborhood data tab, right? You click on the three dots, dotted menu in your future prices chart, and you see download CSV. It's going to show all your future prices, and it's also going to show you what your market's occupancy, sorry, prices are in that particular percentile, and it's going to give you all the information that you need in CSV form. So you can analyze it, make reports out of it, whatever you want to do. All right. So I think there are a lot of questions. Yes, Roxana asked, is the final price that my property booked at? Yeah, the final price is the price that PriceLabs is pushing to your booking channels. The one that you see on your pricing calendar, that's the final price in future prices chart. So it's your future prices. So they haven't. So that's what we are pushing to your booking channels. Sam asks, what is the best recommended strategy? Do you want to be in the 50th percentile for pricing, etc.? I think this is if you want to price at a particular level, I don't think you should be doing price dynamic pricing, right? So dynamic pricing by definition, you want to be the first one to book in low season, and you want to be the last one to be booked in high season, right? So you don't want to actually price your property at a particular percentile throughout. You of course want to leverage data, and you want to change your prices dynamically every day based on how the market is changing, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind before trying to set at a particular percentile. Mm. All right, we still have 108 people sticking around, and even though we are over time, but you're eager to learn. I think that's great to see. All right, I think we are going to end the session here, and we will get back to you if your answers, if your questions didn't get answered. We will get back to you, and we'll answer your questions over email, and we'll reach out to you. Mhm. All right, thanks all for joining, and hope you are able to take these learnings from this session and set up your 2025 PriceLabs account, and uh, hope to see you using PriceLabs more and more. Rafael, Blas, Arshdeep, any last thoughts, or should we end?
Thank you all for joining.
All right. Thank you all for joining, and your questions will get answered later if we didn't in this session. Thank you. Bye bye.